Yeah, my screen is visible. So is it visible to all of you? Okay, thank you. So I'm going to discuss today of introduction to block cipher versus stream cipher, conventional encryption principles, cryptography, 5-step cipher structure. I would like to mainly concentrate on this particular data encryption standard algorithm, how this was designed, and how the algorithm looks like, and we'll discuss little examples on that, and we will find the speed of that algorithm and what are the strengths of that algorithm, and finally differential and linear cryptanalysis, key recovery attacks, and block ciphers we'll discuss, right? First of all, we need to be talk about a cipher. We have two type of ciphers are there. One is a block cipher, other one is a stream cipher. Plain text, if you want to generate a ciphertext, we required an encryption algorithm as well as we required a key. That's why here in the stream ciphers, what we will do, a stream of bits or characters which we are going to use to generate. An algorithm is there that is going to be generate a key bits or characters, and finally you have a plain text. The plain text characters, character by character it comes, character by character comes over here. That is ciphertext. In the reverse way, character by character you provide as input to the XOR function, and finally meet at that is going to be generate the plain text. This is the simple logic. If you may observe very carefully, stream ciphers are strong. One sense, these stream ciphers are not that much good. Why? Because you are just simply performing XOR operator. XOR breaking XOR operation is very easy. But these algorithms more stronger than the block cipher algorithm when suppose your bit stream generator is going to generate a random sequence of bits. Random sequence of bits. Okay, at sender end we are able to generate a random sequence number. How we will convey that random sequence information to the receiver? This is the biggest challenge in the stream ciphers. That's why we have good stream ciphers, but these stream ciphers are not that much popular. Are you clear what I'm saying? Stream ciphers are very powerful when you are going to maintain a random bit sequence. But at the same time, the weakness is there in these algorithms are how to convey this information to the receiver. Biggest challenge that is. That's why block cipher is very popular. In the block cipher, you have a plain text, you have an encryption algorithm, you have a ciphertext. Here, what is the encryption algorithm which we used in the stream ciphers? Only XOR function, not like that here. Here, there are another couple of permutation substitutions, something we will use and we will perform this encryption algorithm. So here key is required, and ciphertext is going to provide as input to the decryption algorithm. With help of key, we are able to generate plain text back. Right? And now, the difference between the stream cipher and block cipher, you may observe here, 1 bit or byte at a time we will use. The key stream is going to be plain text bit stream, and the key stream is random, which makes stream cipher is insertion. Cipher, block of data used as a plain text block, DES, AES, blowfish, and etc. Conventional encryption mechanism, we already discussed about this one in the last class. You have a message, use the encryption algorithm to encrypt it, and in between crypto analyzers are there. They're going to analyze your strength of your encryption algorithm. Finally, the other end decryption algorithm is going to be applied to get back our plain text. Here we are going to be use a key source to generate ciphertext. That key share with the other end in a secure manner. Otherwise, there is no meaning for this cryptography. That's why here how to exchange a key securely is the biggest challenge in the cryptography. We'll see that. So I want to classify the cryptography. We have two types of cryptographies: symmetric key cryptography and asymmetric key cryptography. Symmetric key cryptography uses single key, and asymmetric key cryptography is going to be used two keys. One is a public key, and another one is a private key. Or we can say that as a secret key, and other one is a public key. Whatever names you may call it as, right? Symmetric algorithms also we will say that is going to be called as a secret key. Both receiver and sender needs to be keep secret that key. For example, online banking is there. You have online banking password. Are you going to be shared with anyone? If you are sharing in the sense, that is not a secret key for you. And bank never inform to anyone. You only needs to be informed to others, but you are also not supposed to be informed to others according to the rules. That is, so that's why symmetric algorithms uses secret key, or we may call symmetric algorithms as a secret key algorithms. So the number of bits in your key defines the security level of the algorithm. How many bits are there in your key that defines how much security is there in your algorithm. Example here, 32-bit we may use. Suppose we may observe here 10 to the power 6 decryption per microsecond. How much time it takes? 2.5 milliseconds only. 56 bits are there. Then it would be take 10 hours. And you have 128 bits are there. 5.4 to 10 to the power 18 years. 168 bits are there. 5.9 to 10 to the power 30 years. Right. That's why our key size is going to be growing. That means the security levels are more. That you keep it. And today's discussion is going to be data encryption standard. The data encryption standard is designed based on the Feistel cipher structure. Here we need to be understood few key terms. One is a block size, key size, number of rounds, sub-key generation algorithm, round function, and fast software encryption or decryption. This we need to be understood. Finally, easy of analysis. Anybody can easily analyze your algorithm. We'll see how Feistel structure is going to work. Are you understand this structure? I'm going to be explaining how this structure is going to work. Choose a plain text. That plain text consists 2 W bits. Why you need to be choose W bits means divide the whole plain text into two parts. One part, the left hand side part and right hand side part. This part is going to be left hand side part, and this part is going to be right hand side part. So here this is going to be your left hand side part, and this is going to be your right hand side part. This is going to be your right hand side part. Are you clear? So how many bits are there in the left hand side part? You have W bits right hand side part, and you have W bits in left hand side part. So the W plus W is equal to 2W. That's why you need to be choose plain text block size as 2W. This is very easy to understand, no problem. And all operations, whatever operations you are going to perform on the right hand side W bits only. don't disturb your left hand side bits. This is the principle that generally they're using in this Feistel cipher. So each time the key also consisting W bits, the key also consisting 2W bits generally, but out of which we need to be consider 56 bits in our DES algorithm. So in DES algorithm here 32 bits we will use generally, left hand side, right hand side also 32 bits we will use. Total the block size is going to be 64 bits. Okay, so that what operations we are performing, here a subkey algorithm generates the subkeys for each and every round. You have n rounds, the subkey generation algorithm is going to generate n keys. If you have a k rounds, it generates k keys. But you have only single key. You have a single key, but you are going to generate subkeys with help of the subkey generation algorithm. So each and every round required one subkey as a input to the function f. So function f receives two inputs. What are the two inputs function f receives? Function f receives two inputs. What are they? One is your subkey and subkey generation value, and that I may write it down ki, and other one is going to be here right hand side bits. Whatever the right hand side bits are there, right hand side bits we are providing as input. So that is going to be r I minus 1 subscript r I minus 1. Clear? So like that we are going to be generated. Now here you may observe very carefully what I want to. Here you observe here how the swapping is there. So left hand side bits directly you need to be used as a right hand side bits, and right hand side bits directly you need to be used as a left hand side bits. That we will see how we are going to be performed. Suppose here you have, suppose my left hand side bits are there, that is going to be my L0, L0 is equal to direct over L0 bits are there. Okay, so L0 how many bits are there? You have 32 bits are there. So I want to write R1. Suppose I want to write R1. How I was supposed to write R1? R1 here, okay, some space is there. This one you need to be treated as your XOR operation. Right? After whatever the output of the function f, that function f is going to be provided as input to this box. The box is going to perform XOR operator, that XOR operation between L0 and output of the function f. So that's why what I supposed to be write for my R1, R1 is going to be equal to function of whatever ki is there, ki, comma, ri minus 1. K ri minus 1. XOR here with my L0. Okay, I will share my, here I want to share my whiteboard so that you will understand that very easily. Please join to this whiteboard so that you are able to understand very easily this particular concept. Total 67 people are there. Here it is showing 69. Why? Because in your midterm compulsory one question is going to become from this particular DES algorithm. That's why that too most of the problems we are solving based on this critical logic only. So be careful. If you have some doubts, please raise immediately. I will try to answer for you. Here my R1, there is no subscript function. That's why you need to be keep R1 like this. My R1 is equal to my L0 mine XOR. Here I need to supposed to be use XOR function here. You need to be carefully understand that. Here XOR function, right? XOR function, then what is the another output here? We have R function of function is required two inputs. I said one is the K1, other one is going to be R0. I want to generate R1 value. I'm going to be generate like this: L0 XOR f of K1 R0. Okay, so that you can observe here also. That you can observe here. In this, you observe what happens here. This is my R0 value. This is my R0 value. So my R0 value directly I'm providing an input to this one. All right, and another input is going to be here function f, and finally the output of this function is going to be XOR with the my L0 value. You may carefully observe here, this is my L0 value. So these two XOR, you perform XOR operation, and finally you will get back your R1. So this is my R1 value. This is my R1 value. I think any doubts are there? Please ask me right now if you have doubt. So how I am going to write my L1 value? How I am going to write my L1 value? I written R1 value is like this. The same way I need to be write L1 value also. L1 value is going to be, just you observe here, what is the L1 value? Directly this R1 value is directly coming towards to the L1 value. So can I write like that? L1 is equal to my R0 value. Sorry, directly R0 value I am directly considering as my L1 value. Right? The same way, if supposed to be, I need to be write my Li and Ri values. My Li value is going to be what? Is equal to R I minus 1. Is the value R subscript I minus 1 value. What about my L value, Ri value? Ri value is going to be equal to Del I minus 1. Here XOR. Just I'm writing XOR function. XOR f of function f of Ki comma Ri minus 1. Simple equation this is. Are you okay? Is it fine, all of you? Any doubt you have? Please, if you have any doubts, write in the chat box. I am going to be answer for your queries. Any questions are there? If you don't have a questions, may I continue? Yeah, now I'm going to continue. So now this is the way the data has to be forward towards to the round n. In the Feistel cipher, you might be use any number of rounds. After last round, you have to be swap the bits. Why you need to be swap the bits? Generally, here from left to right bits are it's coming, and right to left bits are coming. Suppose you are not performing the swapping operation during the decryption. Decryption is just a reverse process of this one. Decryption is just a reverse process. Just a reverse process in the sense, okay, just you need to be flip this complete process. Then automatically you will get back your plain text. That's why if you are not performing swapping here, you're supposed to be perform swapping at the last. Clear? So the same Feistel structure they used in the data encryption standard. Actually, data encryption standard mainly designed based on the Lucifer algorithm. This was designed by IBM for Lloyd's of London for a cash transfer. This was adopted by NIST in 1971 as a Federal Information Processing Standard FIPS publication 46 is providing this information. DES algorithm referred as a data encryption algorithm. In 1970s to till today, this is a popular algorithm. Till today, I think up to 1998. This is a very wonderful algorithm. And sometimes the people are going to call this as a data encryption algorithm also. And the majorly we need to be speaking about the DES. DES is a 64-bit block cipher. The plain text is going to process in 60-bit blocks. And finally, the key size is going to be 56 bits only. It was broken in 1999 by the EFF Foundation. That results triple DES and advanced encryption standard. These two we will study after some lectures. Right? Here you need to be observed very carefully. The total DES algorithm we are dividing into three major functions. One is initial permutation, other one is the round function, third one is going to left and right halves of the output or swap to produce pre-output. Of IP. That means, okay, you are using initial permutation. Before that, what you need to be ensured that initial permutation has inverse initial permutation. Why? Because all permutations might not have inverses. That's why you need to be find which one has the inverse. That one only you need to be used as your initial permutation function. So mainly this DES designed based on the two concepts. One is a confusion, other one is going to be the diffusion. These two are suggested by the information theory, father of information theory, Shannon. Father of information theory, Shannon. Shannon is okay, suggested these two you need to be used. Confusion and diffusion. Diffusion means that each plain text bit must affect as many as ciphertext bits. Means suppose a single bit, okay, change is there, that change is going to be affected many cipher bits. How? Is it possible or not? Yes, it is possible. We will see that. Confusion means that the relationship between the encryption key and the ciphertext must be as complex as possible. That it means the same way. So this is going to describe a key bit is affects many bits of the cipher block. Many bits of the cipher. We'll see that how it is going to be possible. First, what we said, we have a three phases that I already told you. The first phase is going to be this one, initial permutation phase. What is called? This is called initial permutation phase. And the second one is what? That is going to be round function. That is going to be round function. Sorry. What is the round function? This is the round function. This whole, okay, comes under the round function. This portion is round function. This is initial permutation, and this is called, okay, a round function. How many rounds are there? 16 rounds are there. Keep in mind, how many rounds are there? 16 rounds are there. And here, how many bits are there? You have 56 bits. How many bits are there? 56 bits. 56. But actually, these are not 56 bits. These are 64 bits. But 64 bits are further reduced into 56 bits. Finally, the subkey generation algorithm required a 56-bit input only. Finally, subkey generation algorithm is going to be required 56-bit only. What are the phases are there in the subkey generation algorithm? You may carefully observe here. You will find, okay, how many are there. The whole portion comes under subkey generation algorithm. In the subkey generation algorithm, you have a permutation choice 1 and permutation choice 2. As well as you have to perform left circular shift on the bits. That also we discuss, okay. But okay, you need to be observed very carefully. We have a 64-bit, we reduce that into 56-bit, and we have a 56-bit. That 56 bits we are going to provide as input to the subkey generation algorithm. In the subkey generation algorithm, initially we have a permutation choice 1. After that, we have two major functions. One is a left circular shift operation. Other one is going to the permutated choices 2 function, permutated choice 2 function. So based on this, we are going to be generate the 16 subkeys. 16 subkeys, right? Then after you need to be perform 32-bit swapping function. Here you might observe, okay, this is a 32-bit, okay, swapping function, 32-bit swapping function. After that, again you need to be go for okay, inverse initial permutation. Then that one you call it as a your ciphertext. This is your ciphertext. What about this one at the starting one? Starting one we call it as a, here this is a plain text. So plain text I am representing M and ciphertext I am representing with C. Keep in your mind. Right? Now, how initial permutation is going to be performed? First point, okay, we have 3 functionalities. We try to understand what is initial permutation, what is round function, and how the round function is going to be function. In the initial permutation, you have a 64-bit. Divide that 64 bits based on the positions. All even positions are going to be occupied the first 4 rows. All odd number of bits are going to be occupied the next 4 rows. That's why you might be observing this 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10, 12, 14 and so on. So finally you have 58, 60, 62, 64. How many bits are there? 64 bits are there. In the next okay, row, you might be observe 4 rows, you observe 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, and so on. Here 57, 59, 61, 63. That it means we divide. That means this one has a initial permutation, inverse initial permutation. That is going to be this one. Right? I told you the key contains how many bits? 64 bits. But that is going to be reduced to 56 bits. I said to you. How we are going to be used? That we will discuss. Okay, that means you have 64 bits, 8 by 8, one column you may remove. How many bits are there? 56 bits. That like that. And what I said to you, we have a 2-word bits. Suppose okay, we are using a Feistel cipher in this particular DS algorithm. How many bits are using for the left hand side? How many bits are going to be used for the right hand side? You have a 64-bit block. That means so that is equal to 2W. W is equal to 32 bits. W equal to 32 bits. That means okay, you need to be divide the existing 64-bit into 32-bit, 32-bit. So here 32-bit is there, and this is going to be left hand side, and on the right hand side 32 bits are there. Total is going to be your okay, block size. That block size is going to be equal to 64 bits. Right? But okay, I told you in this algorithm, very carefully observe here, what operation, okay, you need to be provided input to function f. This function f is a simply XOR function. Simply XOR function. That's why we required an expansion table. Expansion table. Right? In the expansion table, what they will do, your right hand side, how many bits are there? 32 bits are there. So the 32 bits are going to be used like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. This particular column is rewrite as the rightmost column is going to be used as a leftmost column, and leftmost column is used as a rightmost column. Here, no? This is the actual bits point of view. This is a leftmost column. These bits with a small change we are using as a rightmost column in the expansion table. What is the change? 1 will start here, we will start from the 5. One is there, one is going to be the last one here. This is the only change. Here also same. Here 4, we were starting with the 4. You know? But okay, here it start with the 2, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, and 28. Simple like that, right? We'll come to this. This is the main heart of the algorithm. We call this as a heart of the DES algorithm. In this algorithm, you might be observed, we have left hand side 32 bits and right hand side 32 bits. So all operations where we are performing here, you may observe all operations we are performing where? On the right hand side bits only. On the right hand side bit only. So here, first you need to, how many bits are there? 32 bits are there. And here 64 bits reduced into 56 bits. And 56 bits I am further dividing into 28 bits. I'm applying the left shift operation on these two both. And I am going to be use this permutation choice 2. In the permutation choice 2, the 58 bits further reduced to 48 bits. How many bits we are reducing? 48 bits. So suppose this XOR function, one input is going to be 48 bit. The other end, how many bits are required? We require 48 bits only. So that's why expansion table is there. The expansion table is going to be the 48 bits. Expansion table is going to be the 48 bits. That's why you need to be provided 32-bit input to the expansion table. Expansion table is going to be generated 48 bits. So finally, this 48 bits both are going to be provided as the input to XOR function. The output of the XOR function you will find a 48 bit. These all 48 bits provide as input to substitution function that we call as a S box. Here 8 S boxes are there. How many S boxes are there? 8 S boxes are there. 8 S boxes are there. So these 8 S boxes are going to be receive 6-bit input and produce, each S box is going to be receive 6-bit input and produce 4-bit output. Now you assume it. What is the output of this substitute box, S box operation? 32-bit. The output of the S boxes are going to be 32 bits. Why? Because how many S boxes are there? 8 S boxes are there. 8 S boxes are going to be produce 4-bit output. 4 into 8 is going to 32 bits. That's why 32 bits you are able to generate. And what is the input of, what is the output of XOR function? 48 bit. So that the input of S box is going to be 6-bit input. So how it is going to be processed, we will discuss little next slide. But if suppose you have a 6 bits, suppose 6 bits is like this, 1 0 1 1 0 1. Suppose how many bits are there? 6 bits. So out of which the middle 4 bits are going to be provide row information. The last 2 bits are going to be provide, this last 2 bits are going to provide column information. That it means each S box consisting of how many values? Anybody answer for me? If you are in the class, yes, we are XORing L0 value with the output function F. Clear? So my question is here, how many rows are there? How many columns are there?
Which one you are aiming towards? Now, what are the total number of in this first
values in each S box? We have 2 bits in the column, 4 bits in the row. That means how many values are there? Yeah. No. 16 columns, 4 rows. What I said here, wait, 1 minute. This is not row, this is column, sorry. This is No. Right. These are going to be represent the column information, and this is going to be represent with the row information. Right? So 16, 4 columns, 4 rows, 16 columns. 4 rows and 16 columns. So total how many values are there? 64 values are there. All 64 values are going to be in between 0 to 15 only. All these values are initialized between 0 to 15 only. We'll see that one also, right? Any doubts on this particular function, route function? Then permutation choice is there. You have 32-bit, Li value is going to 32-bit. These two you XOR it. Finally you will get okay Ri value. That's why here we return Ri is equal to what we return. Ri is equal to, this is L minus 1 XOR. Why? Because this is the XOR function, and this whole function, that means dotted line you might be observed. This dotted line, whole dotted line, we are treating as function f, the function f. So function f is required. What are the inputs? One is Ri minus 1, comma, another input is going to be Ki minus 1. This is going to be Ri minus 1. So this is going to be Ki minus 1. Ki is there, Ri minus 1 is there. These two are the input to the function f. The output of the function f is going to be provided as input to XOR function, and another input to the XOR function is going to be Li minus 1. That's why this is going to be. Finally, here you may observe very carefully this value, Ri value, directly coming from here to Li value. So Li is going to be equal to Ri minus 1. Ri minus 1. This is called a round function. So finally, we discussed about the R bits, 32 bits. We provided input to expansion table. Expansion table produces 48 bits, and here subkey is also produces 48 bits. We are XORing these two, and once we XOR it, provide as input to 8 S boxes. Each S box is going to be consisting 4 by 16 values. 4 by 16 values. Okay. The first and last will provide the row information. Remaining 4 bits are going to provide the column information. Remember this one. So here you might be seeing the SS box now. If suppose my input is going to be like this 1 0 1 1 1 0. What does it mean? My row value is how much? Row value is going to be 1 0. Row value is going to be 1 0. 1 minute. Right. You might see here, these are my values. My row value, that means okay, my row information is going to be provided by the last 2 digits. These two are going to provide the row information. Next, and middle 4 bits are going to provide the column information. So this is going to, these two are going to provide the row information, and middle 4 bits are going to be provide the column information. So what is my column information? Column information is equal to 0, 1, 1, 1. 0, 1, 1, 1 means this is equal to 7, right? And the row information is equal to 1, 0 means how much? 2. That means the first one is going to be 0, 1, 2, and 3. That means the third row, that means according to this one, third row and seventh column. Seventh column is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is the value. What is this value? 2. 2 you represent in the form of 4 digits. 0, 0, 1, 0. So this is the value is going to be produced as an output. S1 S box suppose receives this value as an input and it produces this value as an output. The same way all other S boxes are going to be function. Are you clear? Anything is required? Still anybody is unable to understand the concept which I am stating to you right now? If you have questions, you may ask me right now. So I would like to ask a few people, please answer for my questions. This one, here, I want here, na? Suppose, okay, I'm taking another value. Suppose S2 box received input as a 6 bits. The 6 bits are like this: 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. So what are my row? Suppose this is input, chart box I will use. Suppose my S2 box, please look into your chat box. My S2 box received 1, 0, 1, 1, 1 as an input. Suppose this is the input, okay, received. Sorry, 6 digits are required. I'm sorry, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1. This input as a received. So what is my row information and what is my column information? Please, okay, answer for mine. Everyone answer for this one. What is the row information and what is my column information for S2 box? Whoever are there online, please answer for me. Row is 1, 1 and column is 0, 1, 1, 1. So 3 and 7 we can say. Right? Right. Row value is going to be 1, 1 and column value is going to be 0, 1, 1. So good. Now you understand that if any input comes from the XOR function, each S box receives 6-bit input. That 6-bit input is divided like this. First and last bits are going to represent the row information. Middle 4 bits are going to represent column information. Clear? So now, according to us, this is the last, okay, 1, 1 column. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What is the output value here? Please type. You may look into this one. Are you able to find this value? So what is the output of the function? S box. The output function is going to be 0, 1, 0, 0. Correct. Rishi Roshan Singh. 0, 1, 0, 0 is the output. So likewise, each S box, suppose, okay, we have 8 boxes, 8 S boxes are going to produce 4-bit output, then 4 into 8 is going to be 32-bit. That's why here the output is going to be 32-bit. So the 32-bit you need to be provided as input to permutation choice, and after that, okay, the final 32 bits are going to be received here. These 32 bits are going to be treated as your ciphertext. Sorry, your right hand side bits. Clear? So this is the discussion about the round function and S box. Then key scheduling algorithm. I told you input key consisting how many bits? 64 bit. You arrange like this and discard the last column. If you discard the last column, how many bits are there in your input key? 56 bits only. Right? So that 56 bits you need to provide as input to your permutation choice. Then after you need to go for a permutation choice. Why? Because your 28 is there. Finally, you need to be produced 48 bits only. That means further you need to be reduce okay. So here, okay, according to the round, the number of left circular shift operations are also defined. Right? Are you okay? So now we need to be analyze this algorithm very clearly and carefully. So we want to write in the form of algorithm. How we will write? What are the inputs are required? Here DES K of M. The K size is going to 56, M size is going to be M length is going to be equal to 64 bit. So use key scheduling algorithm. Provide your 56 bit as a key, and it is going to produce 1 to 16 keys. Right? And each key length is going to be, each sub key length is going to be equal to 48 bits. Then you choose your message M. Yeah. Here I want to say one thing to you. You have an input message. Input message might not be always equal to 64 bit block, 64 bits. It might be variable length. Make it 64 bit blocks. Complete, okay, whatever message you have, that complete message you are going to be divided into 64 bit blocks. If suppose you don't have a sufficient 64 bit blocks at the end, at the last block, you append some more bits, make it the last, okay, block is also going to be equal to 64 bit. Means suppose you have a capital M is my message, which is going to be consist of a combination of message small m1, small m2, and so on. Likewise, so each 64-bit message you provide as input to initial permutation. IP here represent the initial permutation. After initial permutation, whatever you received, that you stored in the M, and parse your M into L0 and R0 values. The L0 value and R0 length, L0 length and R0 length is going to be equal to 32 bits. The same thing, whatever we did, whatever we completed, whatever we discussed, same thing I've written in the algorithmic form. For I, how many rounds are there? 16 rounds are there. We seen, okay, round 1 to round 16 are there. That's why 16 rounds are there. And what operations we are performing? Your Ri minus 1 we are considering as a Li value, and Li minus 1 XOR f of Ri minus 1 comma Ki we are using as our Ri value. So finally, you need to be apply the inverse initial permutation so that the bits will get the original positions. Then L16 and R16. So that is going to be your ciphertext. Finally, you need to be forward this ciphertext. Okay. How round function is going to be work? Simply, this is also, you are using expansion table, and R size is going to be 48 bits, and XOR with the K. So, and parse it. Finally, you have how many S boxes? 8 S boxes are there, and each one you need to be provided like this, and finally you will get a 4-bit input, and the 4-bit input is equal to 32 bits. Finally, we return R value here. This is the key round function. So whatever we discussed till this point, we discussed about the encryption function only. How encryption function? Encryption function means what? You have an input. That means input is what? Plain text. And what we are producing? A ciphertext. So in between whatever the algorithm is there, that algorithm we discussed. Here now you observe. Here you observe what we are doing here. You have a plain text, right? This is your plain text. Ciphertext. Nitesh Sharma, please mute your mic, or if you have a doubt.
No, sir, actually.
It's okay, Nitish, no problem. Here they said how we reduce 56 to 48 bits. Here, we are reducing 56 bits to 48 bits. Here if you have permutation choice 2, output of the permutation choice 2 is going to be 48 bits. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows are there, 8 columns are there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 columns are there. That means here the bit positions, they are chosen like this. Again, they divide into even and odd number. Even numbers are they filled like this, and odd numbers they filled like this. Right? So this is a 56 bit, and after permutation choice 2, you will get a 48 bits. Okay? Right. So we discussed here the whole process. We discussed here the whatever mechanism is there in between this. The whole mechanism we call it as a encryption mechanism. What we call this as encryption mechanism. I think most of you understand, but this is the typical part. You try to understand this one. If you understand this one, that it means you are able to answer any kind of question based on the DES algorithm, right? So let a plain text message M be encrypted to ciphertext message C under an encryption key K. Let us go through the DES algorithm to confirm the proper working of the DES, the decryption function. Suppose in the decryption function, we start with inputting input block. The input block is going to be L0 dash and R0 dash. So your ciphertext is there. You provide an input to your initial permutation. Then you will get, I said, it's a reverse process. It's a reverse process. That's why we are writing this one. If suppose you have L0 dash and R0 dash, what are the values are going to be there in the L0 dash and R0 dash? Generally, R16 and L16. If the swapping has not been done over there, here you have to swap it. I'm thinking, there is no swapping. That's why I'm keeping like this R16 and L16 value. If suppose R16 value, L16 value is like this, what is my L1 value? L1 value is going to be my R0 dash value. R0 dash value. What is my R0 dash value here? R0 dash value is equal to L16 value. So if it is L16, L16 is equal to, how we will write? This is L16. Actually, L16 is going to be like R16 minus 1 only. Li is equal to Ri minus 1. The previous equation only we discussed about that. This is here now. Li is equal to Ri minus 1. So that here you observe. So if L16 comes over here, that it means the actual value is going to be R15 only. The actual value is going to be R15 only. But here only the tricky part is there. How we are going to find R1 dash value? How we are going to find R1 dash value? Just I will go to my here this one, and I will explain here. Please keep understand. All of you connected to this whiteboard, and my whiteboard is visible to all of you. Right here, I want to write how R1 dash is going to be coming up. So in this, here I want to write my R1 dash. So my R1 dash is going to be like this. This is my R1 dash. R1 dash is equal to L0 dash, I want to write like this, XOR, this is my XOR function. What I supposed to be right here? Function f. Function f is going to be R. Which value I need to be writing over here? R0, comma, K1. But here R1, R0 dash and K1 dash. Like this. Are you okay with this? Again, you might be consider this one. This is equal to what is my L0 dash? What is my L0 dash? Are you understand? What is my L0 dash value? Here it is. How I may rewrite my L0 dash? L0 dash is going to be equal to, okay, you need to be verify your algo here. Okay, here L0 dash is equal to what we return? R16 value here we return. Are you okay with me? If you written R16 value, so this is going to be R16. Instead of that, you need to be substitute this one, R16. R16 XOR with F of your R0 dash. R0 dash means R0 dash means R15. Keep it with you. And K1 dash means K16. I'm writing this one, XOR. Here XOR function. Here R16, how we supposed to be write? This is going to be equal to L15 XOR F of R15 comma K16. This is the way we will write. Here, what is there? F of R16 comma R15 comma K16. Here also what is there? R15 comma K16 is there, function f. If suppose this looks like how B XOR, suppose okay, this whole is going to be equal to A, this is also going to be A. That means okay, XOR A is equal to what? 0. Are you with me? Then the final resultant value is going to be what? B is equal to our L15 only. The same thing here you observe. So what is there? L15 is the answer. So may I know how many of you okay, clearly understood? Any questions here? Anybody is unable to understand this okay, the way we are solving the decryption? So now we are okay, finding R0 dash value and L0 dash value, R1 dash value and L0 dash value. Okay, again I'm explaining to you. Here this is okay. I'm using this one only so that okay, you will carefully observe. Here what is there? My R1 dash. I'm writing R1 dash only. This is my R1 dash, which is equal to L0 dash XOR F of R0 dash comma K1 dash. Right here now you may observe here very carefully R0 dash is there, that is equal to L16. L16 is equal to R15 we written. The same way I am rewriting this one. My L16 dash is equal to how much? L16 dash is equal to R16. So I am representing, instead of L16, I am rewriting here my R16 value. XOR my f of what value is there? R0 dash. R0 dash is equal to R15 I written in the previous equation, L0 value, and K1 dash is equal to K16. Suppose you have here R16 value. Suppose you have R16 value. R16 value is going to be rewrite as R16 value is going to be rewrite as L15 XOR f of R15 comma K16. K16 XOR what else is there? XOR here, okay, you have f of R15 comma K16 is there. F of R15 comma K16. If here, okay, R15 comma K16 is there, here R15 comma K16 is there, here also R15 comma K16 is there. So according to the XOR function or XOR functions, A XOR A is equal to what is the value? A XOR A equal to what is the value? 0 only, right? So here this complete, okay, the value is going to be 0. This complete value is going to be 0. If this complete value is going to be 0, what is the resultant value? L15 XOR 0. So something XOR 0 is equal to something only. That's why here the resultant value is going to be L15 only. So that's why finally you will get L15 only. The same way you may continue your L1 dash, R1 dash is equal to R15, L15, and so on. You may continue for 15 rounds. What values are there? Second round you will get R14, L14, and finally L16 dash, R16 dash, you will get finally L0 and R0 and L0 values. You swap this R0 and L0 values, actual bit positions you are able to receive. Why? Because I swapped the first, so that I have to perform swap again here. So likewise, we will get back your original plain text. Are you okay? Understood how a decryption algorithm is working? Any questions are there now? Right. So a small question I will provide it to you. You try to answer for this one. How many of you are able to solve this question? I will see. Very interesting question this is. I have a DES. K complement of M complement whole complement is equal to DES K of M. How many of you are able to prove this one? How many are you able to prove this one? So take this as a small assignment. Try to solve this one and show it me in the Monday class. Right? That is. So remaining things we will discuss in the next class. Okay, these are all there. Okay, but okay, we'll discuss in the next class. So that okay, you already exhausted a lot of topics are there. I want to conclude here. So what we discussed right now, we completed DES algorithm. How many functions are there? Please answer for my questions. How many major functions are there in DES? 3. What are they? What are the functions? One is the first one is going to be initial permutation. Second one is going to be round function. Third one is going to be inverse initial permutation. Inverse initial permutation. Keep it in the mind. So initial permutation, inverse initial permutation doesn't have major things, right? And where the major work is there, round function only. Now, my another question comes. I started with the one particular discussion. So DES designed based on two concepts. What are they? DES designed based on two concepts. What are they? Confusion, and other one is going to be diffusion. Now, where you find confusion and where you find the confusion, okay, have we discussed, okay, oh, this is the place, okay, confusion is going to happen, this is the place diffusion is going to happen. Yes, okay, everybody understood confusion, diffusion, but where this we identified in the algorithm? Round function is going to be confusion. Okay, that's correct. Why? Because a plain text bit is there. Suppose, example I will tell you. You have a plain text. We divide that plain text into 32-bit, 32-bit. Suppose left-hand side bit any error is there, or right-hand side bit any error is there. These two are going to be different. You need to be keep very. That means you keep in your mind. If suppose the right-hand side bits are there, how many bits change is there in the round function after round one function? Simple. At right hand side, 1 bit change is there. So after round 1, how many bits are going to be corrupted? 1 bit corrupted in the right hand side. After round 1, how many bits are going to be corrupted? Are we able to estimate? Yes, we can. Just to observe the sequence. You may observe the sequence, 1 bit change is there. That 1 bit change is going to be corrupt the left hand side 1 bit. Why? Because left hand side bits are there XORing with the function of output function. Already 1 bit corruption is there in the right hand side. So because of that 1 bit corruption, that is going to be corrupt 1 left bit also. So how many bits are there now? 2 bits are there. Why? Because 32 bits are there, here 32 bits are coming. So 1 bit is there. So total 2 bits are going to be of the round 2. How many bits are corrupted? 1 bit at the left hand side, 1 bit at the right hand side. Total 2 bits 2 bits are going to be corrupted. What about how many bits are going to be corrupted after the second round? How many bits are going to be corrupted? The 4 bits. That's why every round this value is going to be exponentially grow. Whenever these values are going to exponentially grow, that means after 16th round, how many bits are going to be corrupted? Huge number of bits are going to be corrupted. So that is going to be create the confusion. Diffusion, where it is? You have to check. We have 56-bit key. One change in the 56-bit key, that is going to be that will be create impact on your permutation choice 2. Permutation choice 2. Suppose the corrupted bits are 1 or 2, you need to be decide. If 2 bits are there and the plain text bits 2, correspondingly the impact is there. So that is called a diffusion. A small bit change may cause to many bit change at the ciphertext, right? So in the implementation, they used these two concepts and they implemented. You keep it in mind, right? Any further questions from your side? So I can stop now. I have stuff, but I don't want to take more. Okay, if you don't have a question, so say no, and we'll close the session. Okay, thank you, and I will ask some of you how to solve the problem. We have our whiteboard. Use whiteboard and solve the problem in the next class. Huh? This problem, DES K complement M complement whole complement is equal to DES K of M. Okay, thank you. Have a good day.